Hi, my name is Cody Wilson, and I'm the mom to this miracle 16-year-old right here who has managed to defy many odds and had at least 10 miracles in his life just to get to where we are today. I wanted to share something for those of you who don't understand the importance of a ventilator and other equipment that keeps him alive. So he's on a ventilator right now. That's his machine that you follow all the tubes, it goes into his tracheotomy, and this is the machine that literally breathes for him. So if he's disconnected from this machine, he does not breathe. Braden is like a coma patient and cannot breathe on his own, even for 2 breath cycles. He might, if he's alert and awake, you might get 1 breath out of him, but he literally probably takes less than 20 breaths on his own throughout the day. So there's this other machine behind me right here. This is called pulse ox. You guys have seen this on like TV medical dramas, and it's got 2 numbers on it, one that tells you what his oxygen level is and the other that tells you what his heart rate is. When this machine beeps, it tells us when to intervene and clear an airway using this machine called a cough assist, also known as a cougholator. So this machine, when I turn it on, I disconnect him from the ventilator and I use this machine to clear his airway. Then I use this machine right here. I turn this on, attach it right here, and I put this catheter down his tracheotomy tube to clear the airway of secretions. Typically saliva, run-of-the-mill snot that happens. But these are the machines that keep my son alive. He's also on a heated humidifier down here. What that does is that keeps his pulmonary area very moist and keeps it from drying out. If you look on the very bottom, there's also a high-powered nebulizer machine because he gets several treatments throughout the day. He uses the cough assist anywhere from 10 to 20 times a day. But this machine right here, this ventilator, is what I want to talk to you about. His ventilator that he has been on for many years, the old one was called a Philips Trilogy 100. I'm going to try to pull the machine out here and show you what it is. The Trilogy 100 is a machine that was recalled a few years ago. So the Trilogy 100, this is it. Trilogy, did you see the condition of this one? Just so you know, like this was one that was in our home. This was not the one that failed him, which I'm going to talk about. This is actually the good one. So this machine was recalled several years ago due to particulate matter that can get in the airway due to some of the sponges and filters that are on this machine. So you see on the outside here's one attached filter, but also on the back there are a few other filters. Well, some of that material would dislodge and get put into the airway, and then if that goes into your lungs or goes into your body, it could cause additional health problems. So that was 2 years ago. This machine, when it was on my son a few weeks ago, started getting louder and louder and making really loud breath noises, and suddenly it shut down, stopped working. Now, several years ago, Medicaid used to pay for a backup ventilator for us to have in the home in the event that this would happen. They stopped doing that. They stopped doing that even for patients that require 24/7 ventilation. So here was the scenario. My son's not breathing because the machine shuts off. It overheats and shuts off. I'm on the phone with the nurse who luckily called me before he tried to call 911 or anyone else. And he had to run to my hoarding closet of old medical equipment. Some is ours and some is from other previous patients. Because I've been in this situation too many times where my son does not receive proper supports. He's not properly supported with nursing hours. He's not properly supported with equipment that works. So here's the problem. When we called the ventilator company to say, hey, this machine has shut down, we immediately need a new one. They say, their first question was, did it overheat? No, my son never leaves his room unless we're out at a doctor's appointment. We're not outside in the sun. And it's like, he's got a fan on, temperature control. It never gets above like 76 degrees in this room unless he's got his own personal like heating blanket on. So the fact that I call and that this is a known issue to the ventilator provider company, that the first question they ask me is if it overheated and shut itself down. And yes, indeed, that is what happened. That is a known issue. The problem is Philips Respironics has not triggered a recall for this problem. So our children who will die without the right equipment, including a ventilator, our most vulnerable children are on this equipment. And no one's talking about replacing it. When I asked about it, I said we could be put on a wait list to replace this equipment because Philips couldn't keep up with the demand to make another model to put these kids on. So for 2 years, Philips has had time to generate more equipment, get through the COVID crisis, and yet my DME company says they can't provide us with a new piece of equipment and we have to be wait listed. And I wish that's where the story ended. You can see he's on another ventilator. Mama bears a squeaky wheel. We got a new ventilator. But we also discovered in this process that his pulse ox stopped holding an internal battery. So if we lost power, it shut down altogether. We had to restart it. So no internal battery means the machine that tells us when to do life-saving interventions cannot be unplugged, which means no trips to see a doctor or to clinics that are scheduled. If we can't take that machine, we can't go. So I was again told I could be waitlisted for a new machine, not, yes, we'll bring you a new one next week, or that'll be 2 weeks and we'll have you a new machine. Wait listed, because these machines are not being made available. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm a very active parent. I have an amazing, incredible nursing staff that is here, but it's taken a long time to find ones who can deal with someone as severe as Braden. We are in a mini PICU right here in his room. So I'm sharing my story and sharing my information so that you can know, whoever needs to know, that Philips needs to make a recall on their equipment for the second known reason that they overheat, shut down, and will turn themselves off and no longer ventilate the patient. So when other parents don't have as much equipment, or their kid, or they don't know what to do in an emergency situation, those children will die. And my son is lucky to be here because he has a very astute nurse and he has a with it parent who can think critically in a crisis and emergency situation. So I just wanted to get this out there and to get it on record so that someone knows, and hopefully someone will do something. I'm hoping there are people at the national level who will help me resolve this issue for patients like Braden across the country, because I shouldn't have to make 20 phone calls to get him a new piece of equipment that should have been recalled 2 years ago. So there's the story, people. When you think things are easy or we're just coasting along, there's a lot you don't know going behind the scenes. And there's a lot of PTSD that happens when a family goes through a trauma like this, because it's not the first one. So again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll put my messaging information someplace so that if someone wants to reach out and ask me questions, they can. Because as long as this guy is still fighting, this mom is still fighting for him. God bless.